So as I put myself in and try to figure something out of getting ideas for videos, I had myself a little epiphany for different things I want to do on the channel. Besides do all the sports takes, besides do little knick-knack food reviews and stuff about life and clubbing, and occasionally throw a little thing of life every once in a while, we remember where we came from. As us and Gen Xers, we grow up and we know what we had. And trust me, Gen X, we know. We owned MTV. We had MTV. And that was technically, for me, kind of a lifeline. It's kind of like I needed MTV. That's one of the reasons why I kind of got into dance, why I got into hip-hop, why I got into all this stuff, and that's how I became a b-boy, technically and partially for the most part of my life. But I needed to do this video because as I get older, knowing we all are aging, and Gen X, our mojos are all diminishing. Men, women, it's starting to decline, and the rise of the millennials and the Gen Zs and even the alphas, they're going to take over, if not already. And I remember what MTV taught me and what MTV did for me. And then after many years of trying to become nothing but entertainment and the loss of music videos, MTV started to slowly on the decline of my interest. Many shows did that. TV shows did that. I thought MTV was music videos. The Top 20 Video Countdown, Dial MTV, TRL. That was what I tuned in for until, I don't want to watch 16 and Pregnant. I don't want to watch The Hills. I don't want to watch Ridiculousness. I don't want to, all this stuff. I don't want to watch True Life. There's enough that I lived on. There is enough stuff that I lived on. And I am, to the best of my ability, am going to give you a vast tour and a slight edge of why, literally why I want to boycott MTV, and probably the reason why a lot of people don't watch it in the first place. Let's go to work, and as always, you do like some of the stuff and some of the life stuff and some of the story times that we've done, whether it's Gen X and all that stuff. It seems like that's the way this video is going to go. There's that thing called a subscribe button. You want to hit that if you want to be shown the door to what's new and what's coming. Let's go to work. And as always, you are hanging out with me today. I appreciate you. Let's go. Yes, MTV, you have really thrown me for an absolute loop for the last 30 some whatever years. I don't know exactly like how much I have to go into to say how much I hate you. I love. Anyway, let's get to the persistent knowledge of this. MTV came out in 1981. August of 1981, and we loved everything that came out with it because we saw all the greats in the 80s and the 90s and all that. And everything that came out with it was just fun as heck. And then we had these guys, and these guys led the way. There's your original VJs. Nina Blackwood, Mark Goodman, Adam Hunt, Martha Quinn, and J.J. Jackson. Now, these guys were and as we like to use the term, pioneers. And I apologize because I don't have I could not find a good picture for the ones that succeeded down the road, like a Kevin Seal, Kennedy, Ananda Lewis, and even Bill Bellamy and Tyrese and a handful of others that just vastly went on through the ways of the next generation. These guys led the way. There was no other place for you to be than MTV because these were the people. And, I don't necessarily have anything against a lot of stuff, but I miss shows. I miss the little knickknacks of dial-in TV because you literally, before the days of the text messages and everything, you dialed in a thing, you paid something, your phone bill went skyrocketing because you wanted to see, I don't know, Bon Jovi's video make the number one, and somebody else like a Madonna showed up. And it was all the big stuff trying to mimic and trying to go in the cohorts of Billboard. But let's just say Dial-In TV was one of those people, or one of those shows. You were there around 4:30, 5 o'clock watching it. And I also show kind of one of my favorite people probably in the business. That's Downtown Julie Brown, Club MTV. Now, Club MTV was their version of Dance Mix USA, Dance Party USA, American Bandstand. MTV had their version, and if without Downtown Julie Brown, wubba wubba wubba, goodbye, God bless. Um, she's an icon for MTV, and you wonder where I get the "in the place to be." It's from this lady right here. They had their stuff in the Palladium, New York City. I don't know what it's called now, but this back then, if you actually look and you actually go on the lovely thing we have as YouTube, go look at old MTV, Club MTV TV shows. This is what clubbing was. This is the vibe you had. Gen Z, you don't got this. And I will hold myself to that. Now, MTV, of course, after a handful of years going through the 80s and 90s, they had all the stuff like Headbangers Ball and all those, and different types of shows because they were slowly getting into it. But then when they started getting to mainstream, it started to jump up and basically become its own identity because then they tried to do an MTV2, and then they wanted to try to put all the TV shows in MTV2. Because I'm just going to burn through because you can see this picture right here. There's all these shows that were on here, and I found a fistful, and I don't have them all because there's too many to name, and there's too many of the name that also failed and fell on their face. Now, we remember some of the old ones, but we remember Bill Bellamy as well. Jenny McCarthy had her thing, and then I think probably I really don't want to be mean, but it's probably the most useless person in MTV history is Mike Green. So I don't know what to tell you. His show was funny, but whatever. TRL, along with this guy Carson Daly, and this one. I mean, these shows at the time were the bomb. This was the takeover dial in TV, and you had live guests coming in New York City all the time. This was probably the beginning of the millennial era that started this. Right about the mid '90s to right to 2000s is when they started doing this. And Carson Daly also MTV legend. Now it goes from that show to all the mainstream stuff. Singled Out was one of my favorite shows. It was funny. It was hilarious. I mean, it was the big dating. It was the big dating pool, and you got I can't even remember his name, Chris something. Throw the comments in if you remember his name. I think it's Hartwick. I could be wrong. But Jenny McCarthy made the show. When she left the show and Carmen Electra came in, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. But Singled Out, too funny. And it was a good dating show. It was actually really creative. I give them credit for that. But now we get to Staples, and Jackass was one of them. Now, you don't know Johnny Knoxville and his crew and Bam Margera and all those boys. You don't know Jackass if it's not for that. So there are shows that are staples for MTV that will continue to be that. And then, I mean, there are pioneers. Jackass will be one of them. Put it in the comments exactly when that show came out, because I think it was early 2000s that came out. Because I don't know what Johnny Knoxville's doing now, but this right here, there's too many pictures for me to go on. But the real world, that's basically numerous seasons started the trend of reality TV. I mean, I still remember season one when it was Eric and it was Norman and a handful of others and the girl from Alabama. Um, Kevin was the writer, and he's still writing. I think he's writing for the Washington Post or New York Times. I can't remember what he's doing now. But people don't remember the last handful of seasons. They don't. Like, I will see some of the real world road rules challenge and speak, but all those ones, including road rules. I remember some of the old episodes and some of those people. Like I still remember the first season. I remember the second season in Venice. And Road Rules. I mean, that was its own. Like you really had to be selected to be on this show and do all its taping and everything like that. It was tough, and I should have just went back to the other one, but everyone remembers the real world episodes where they were so monumental. A lot of people getting kicked out. We remember Pedro Zamora about his AIDS issue when he was in San Francisco. We remember a handful of people from London, from the London episode to the Paris to the Boston episodes, and Road Rules was the same thing, going cross country, doing all these different things, and being paid handsomely. And then we get to Cribs, in which you know, did they really did superstars really want to do this show? The most famous one was Method Man. I think it was Method Man or Red Man. In fact, it was Red Man, and I'm not even going to go to this to details. But some of these shows were awesome. Cribs was a good one. Then you started getting to all these. Why are we doing them? Why are we doing Nick and Jessica? Because it was a fan. Because it was the fad back then. Nick and Jessica, that was a big fad. Um, Jersey Shore was a big fad. We remember because that this went down a handful of episodes. It went to the point where it got so creative they had to get one more person in there. I think it was Dina. And I didn't watch the show religiously, but people knew him. People knew the show and all that. And then Daria. Well, you get to the animation part of that. You throw in Daria. I'm clearing some stuff up here. Daria and Beavis and Butthead, probably the two iconic shows on there. And we go to Celebrity Deathmatch. That was also a big deal. And then a lot of different ones. The Osbournes, when they were in their stuff, and Ozzy was still like doing his, he was still, um, you know, like an actual human being. He still is, but at the time when these people were a little bit younger and they were doing this show in 2000s, funny as hell. I can't, I can't, I can't imagine that one. Now, Pimp My Ride wasn't bad. Now we found out that show was what is a good way to put it? I don't want to say fake as a $3 bill because I get it. Exhibit wanted to do something pretty cool, and it was pretty cool. But these the cars that they made, they were not drivable on. This had to be. This had to be. I don't know how they were able to put this show together, but it was funny putting your entire bowling set in the back of your trunk and have it automated to come out, or have a popcorn machine in your thing. You tell me. Now I get to the gist of it, and I'm going to try not to go too long here. But it's my reasons why MTV is kind of in a in my mindset dying because they're putting out with shows I don't want to watch and I'm not interested in. Now I get Jersey Shore was okay, but when you start throwing like dramas like The Hills, like nobody wanted to see Catfish. Like I get some people are into that stuff, but maybe some people in the early days, as far as late Gen Xers, millennials, maybe they got into The Hills, maybe that got into Laguna Beach, those type of shows. It just got old, and then they started doing the animation stuff, and yes, all this stuff did fairly well. Aeon Flux was another one, and Liquid Television started to pick up. And then you get all these other oddball stuff, Parental Control, Room Raiders. There's next was another dating show, and what was it? The A+1. I don't know what that show was. Was another teen band, a teen group show. I don't know, but yeah, I was starting to run a little off of like I was only getting ticked because my shows were gone and these shows were taken over. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see Ashley Simpson solo. Oh, I get it's Ashley Simpson. Don't get me wrong. Um, and like Shot of Love with Tila Tequila, we can't forget. There's another iconic figure in MTV. And then it started getting to the point where all these different freaking shows, My Sweet 16, True Life, I can't fathom seeing this on cable on your little thing on your clicker and seeing what's coming on the screen. I can't. I just can't. I can't. My Sweet 16 and True Life was also running MTV, like literally. Vila Bam and all that, all these other different stuff like here. And then we get to, I mean, I know I missed a ton of stuff. There's a ton of shows that I have missed, but, and pardon me as I'm fixing to the next part here, because now if you kind of scroll through MTV, you're going to see two shows. I mean, you might see some knickknacks every once in a while, but ridiculousness. I think it is still. I don't know if this show is still going or not. I thought I read a post that said it was canceled a while ago, and all you see is repeats. All you see is repeats. Now this guy, he was in the Big Rob and Big and Rob. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I don't miss this show because all this was MTV's version of America's Funniest Home Videos. But I don't miss this person, Chanel West Coast, and the most annoying laugh in entertainment. I don't know what to tell you. She says she's got credits. Where? Name them. I'm still waiting. And then the one show on here that is probably the reason why MTV is still in business, and that's Wild 'N Out. It is basically the reason why Nick Cannon still has a paycheck, still has 12 kids, still has, and basically, in a way, is the reason why he has a gigantic bank account and made a bunch of gigantic stars, Carlos, DC Young Fly, and Matty Smith, and all those people, Big Mac, and some of those guys still do that tour, and it's hilarious. I've seen bits and pieces of it. So I don't know what else to tell you. MTV has gone on this really, really weird situation of, well, music videos are dying, so we've got to do something else. So let's just go ahead and have our own studios. Let's do this, and this. Let's go reach out to a bunch of TikTokers and Instagram people, and let's put them in a TV show. It's not how you want to do business. It really isn't. MTV will always be in predicament to me. I will always enjoy Club MTV. I will always enjoy Dial MTV. I will always enjoy watching music videos. Doesn't matter if they were on like late nights, Headbangers Ball. Doesn't matter. Music videos ran our lives. If it wasn't the radio and it wasn't putting our tapes or in the old days, the 8 tracks, the tapes, and the CDs, we didn't have those. We looked on MTV and we waited for those music videos. And sometimes we wanted music videos because we wanted to see the dance. We wanted to see the action. We wanted to see the actual artist in his own repertoire. Michael Jackson's one of the biggest ones. So, in a way, I don't watch MTV anymore. That's all I see. But I know there's shows that I've missed. Give me something. Give me a show as you saw on MTV that you loved, hated, whatever. Throw them in the comments because that's a reason why I boycott MTV, and I don't really want anything to do with it. I really don't. It's 2024 going into 2025. There's way too many things for us to get inside with to do. Whether we go out, whether we are on our phones, whether on TikTok or Instagram, or what I'm doing here on YouTube, we all find something else to filter in. It's so difficult. And it's a shame. A real shame. They still do the MTV Video Music Awards. And this past year, Taylor Swift swept them all. Because I think that's all we know. You made it to the end. What do you remember about MTV? There's a lot of them. Throw a comment in. You like the video, thumbs up, hit that like button. And by all means, I appreciate you watching the video. I get a little bit of event, so I don't know if I want to put this as another Gen X millennial type of thing, Gen Z millennial thing, but it is in fact a reason why I still to this day boycott MTV. Not that it's going to lose any sweat off my back. Hit that like, subscribe button, and all that stuff. You've heard my speech. I hope you like the video because I'm going to go watch some MTV. Not. Late.